Well, it's my pleasure today to welcome Joy Miller to our St. Andrew's video devotional series. And Joy Miller is a Nova Scotian. She's Reverend Jared's mom, and she's also been the minister of music at St. James Presbyterian Church in Truro for 26 years. I first met Joy actually. Um, it was the dedication of King's Church in New Minas.
Yeah.
When Joy was asked to come and bring her choir for the dedication. And I remember that day, Joy, that you came and offered
Yes.
music for
Yeah.
that dedication
Did
service.
we bring our handbell choir? Was that this? Was that
I
the?
believe you may have as well. Yeah,
That's yeah, for sure. Yeah,
that's
it was a exciting time for your church. Opening up for the first time and celebrating for sure. Yeah.
well, I've always enjoyed working with you, and I did enjoy working with you as interim moderator not that long ago.
Right.
And so it's a pleasure to be able to welcome you. We've been happy that you've been able to join us some Sundays for worship, during this COVID-19 season as well. So welcome
It's
to
a
St.
pleasure.
Andrews,
Yeah,
Joy.
a pleasure. Yeah. Very nice to be able to see everyone occasionally and listen to Jared preach on occasion as well. So we've really enjoyed that very much.
Good, good. Well, I guess one of the other things that it would be good for people at St. Andrews to know is that you live in the county where the mass shooting began in Nova Scotia last April, and you actually had significant connections to some of those folks, didn't you, Joy?
I did. I grew up as a teenager in a community nearby, and where my father still lives, actually in Glenholm, and so just through various means, got to know some of the people that actually tragically were shot that horrible day. And it was sort of a worrisome day because I had actually thought I would go out and have a visit with my father,
Hmm.
take him some food. At the time, it was COVID, and I was trying to keep him from not keep him out of the grocery store. And he called and said, I hear there's a shooter and he's really close to my home, and he's trying to get into such and such a person's house. And I said, well, Dad, just lock your doors. They were suggesting that he go into the center of his house. But it was a worry, and it was a consistent worry for several weeks afterwards for him, for sure, living alone. But we did know one of the VON nurses cared for my mother when she was very ill. Her name was Heather O'Brien, lovely, lovely, caring woman. Um, Lisa McCulley was a teacher in the area. She grew up at the cottage at Berwick Camp, United Church Camp in the Valley. Um, Jared and my daughter Jana would have been connected with them and their family. And then Jamie Blair was um, the teller at our local credit union for many years, and I knew her from that. And her husband, Greg, had been in our house repairing our furnace just a few weeks before. And then, of course, Joanne and John, members of our congregation who had just moved here a few years ago from the United States and wanted to just live in a quiet community, and got very involved, active in our congregation, but particularly had a gift of mission ministry, and extremely involved in our laundry mission that we have at the church as well. So it was so sad. It was a really sad time for sure. And I don't know whether everyone has actually been able to grieve because of the COVID situation.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it's been very difficult to be able to process all of this. And
Mhm.
what do you see as the ongoing repercussions of this for both you, but and also for the ministry of your congregation as well?
Well, I think as a congregation, we haven't, as a whole, been able to deal with it because we haven't been meeting regularly. And so I think once we do come together again, then the memories of John and Joanne particularly will be very vivid for us, and we'll miss them for sure. There's a lot of hurt that probably hasn't been dealt with in terms of answers that they're still trying to ask of the authorities as to how this could have happened. And so, and I would imagine until some of those answers, those questions are answered, people will continue to have anger and feel the hurt from it all.
Yeah, yeah. Well, please know that other people are certainly keeping you in our prayers, because it the whole thing I know was certainly shaking for us. We were watching the news every day during that period, and
Mm,
certainly feeling such sadness for people back in Nova Scotia. It just seems so out of character for the Nova Scotia that we all know and love.
that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. Well, we hope that when you do get to be together again as a congregation, that it'll help you in being able to find some healing and peace in this.
Yeah, I truly believe it will, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is actually the first of the conversations I've been able to have this summer for our wisdom series, and in terms of these devotionals, and so the one this one is going to run in advance of our sermon that'll come from Proverbs and look at integrity, and so that was what I wanted us to focus on this morning, and just to hear some of your perspectives on integrity. And first, I'd be happy if you just gave us some idea of what integrity is for you, what it is.
I think integrity is um, setting a moral standard for yourself, sticking to it, um, good ethics, good values, um, and basically doing the right thing, I think, without necessarily everyone knowing or watching you do that. You just do it. You're honest uh, to the hundredth degree.
Hmm. And who would you say have been some of the people who have helped you in terms of teaching you integrity or even modeling it for you during your life?
Well, I would say my parents. Certainly, there have been ministers too, but I think of my mother particularly. Not that my father wasn't a very integral part of my life as well, and still is, but my mother showed me integrity. I think in the way that she lived, she was uncompromising when it came to standards. um, she lived solid Christian principles. We watched her kneel at her bedside and pray, and for me, she certainly influenced me, um, and and helped me to determine that same sense of honesty and integrity and Christian values in my life.
Could you think of any of those times where living out that integrity for her was especially costly, but that she still stuck to it, even though it was costly?
Well, I think when she would stick to her guns about something that we were not allowed to do, it might have cost her a little bit of aggravation. But she was always uncompromising in that situation because she wanted what was right for us
Hmm.
as children growing up. Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah. And
Sometimes it's harder to accept than other times, but but when I look back, she certainly left a huge impact in my life in terms of um, helping me to be a good person and honest person, and certainly my faith was she gave me the example for sure.
hmm. What do you think helps to fuel or help grow integrity in us?
What helps us to,
What
sorry?
helps to grow integrity in us? We've talked about the influence of other people, um, and and that I think that is significant for Christian faith because Christian faith is such an embodied thing. You know, it's embodied in Christ, and then we each get to embody it in a unique way. Do you think are there any other ways that you have been encouraged in integrity during your life. In addition to that,
I think my work at the church, my connection with other Christian friends, I truly believe they keep you stable, and they allow you to uh, not waver from your principles and your values, because they're there to encourage, they're there to guide you, and certainly small groups in our congregation have been so helpful for me in terms of just reinforcing the importance of having good integrity and having a strong faith, Christian principles.
hmm. I wonder maybe the final thing it would be whether you have any sense of how integrity makes a difference in community, as you're saying. You've talked about how interacting with other people helps to grow integrity in you. Now, what do you think is the impact of integrity within a community of faith when it's practiced widely? I guess you could say that integrity is when our when everything kind of lines up. With we practice what we preach. I guess this is pointed at preachers here about practicing what we preach, but everything kind of lines up. And I'm wondering what do you think is the impact on a community of faith when we have a lot of integrity that is part of the community?
Well, I think that the community of faith go out into the bigger community with their integrity, hopefully, and they're the ones that perhaps smile at the teller at the grocery at the grocery store, or the teller at the bank, and just greet them with a smile, and make sure that the change is accurate, just in case. I think those are all things we share within the community. Just our personality, how we react to people, and I think as a Christian community, it's very important for us to act that same way out in the larger community, and helping others, and doing community volunteering, and it's just a means of showing your faith and your caring and your kindness to others.
Hmm. Well, I really appreciate the way that you've helped us see how in integrity impacts in a variety of ways, whether it's in our own homes and our own families, or whether it's in the community of faith. Or I really like the way that you've described almost a light that comes from a community into like a community of faith into the wider town and city around it, so that actually has a corporate impact as well. So thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today, Joy.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
It's
Say
been
hello to everyone for me.
yes, and please take good care.
You too.